Dan Killeen is an author and illustrator and founder of independent picture book publisher Happy Fun Books. And his latest book is Robert and the Robots. And here to share more is Dan Killeen. It's great to see you.
It's good to see you. Thanks for having me.
It was off camera, like trying to remember the last time you were here and we were talking about one of your past books. And now we're here to talk about Robert and the Robots. So you've been busy.
Yeah, I have been. So this one took a while. This book's a little bit longer.
It is,
it's 72 pages. But so there's a lot of illustrations. It's about a boy who makes robots to do his chores and homework for him. And then he brags about it to his friends at school, and then they come around, and so he opens up a business in his garage selling robots to his friends because they don't want to do any work or chores or homework either. And then the whole town comes to him, and he becomes very successful entrepreneur, like an Elon Musk, but he's only 7 or 8 years old. And pretty soon robots are doing everything, and humans are just sitting around in their pajamas. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, as usually happens with robots, they rebel, and they try to take over St. Louis. And so Robert now has to stop the robots and save his little sister, Lexi, who likes to eat gooey butter cake.
Right.
So that's the...
And here we are. So I think for people, I mean, with your work, you do an amazing job of incorporating. I mean, we should tell people that with all your books, the characters, it all takes place in St. Louis.
Right.
You're a St. Louis native.
Yeah.
And you do a fantastic job with it, obviously incorporating even the gooey butter cake. And I mean, is that kind of the goal when you're writing this, is just to pull in as many references and, you know, as we're seeing with obviously the arch, I mean, do you just want it's obviously taking place in St. Louis, but are you intentionally trying to pull in like the gooey butter cake and... Yeah,
that helps. I don't want the local references to overwhelm the plot or the characters, but if I can get them in there. This one, it worked out pretty well. Kind of the finale takes place beneath the arch, and it involves gooey butter cake. Mm-hmm. But I don't actually mention St. Louis in these books. It's just, if you're from here, you'll know. But you know, hopefully these will still sell in Peoria or Cincinnati or, you know, California.
Yeah,
so.
No, and I mean, they're colorful, and your illustrations are great books. My kids love them. My kids fight over these books. Or, you know, like there's plans to keep one from the other and all that. But I mean, they're great books. I mean, talk about the creative process for this. I mean, this is now book number 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are you already working on book number 5? Do you already have these ideas just in your head, or is it like while you're working on one, something else inspires the other?
Yeah, I do. I am working on the next book, and this one's a little bit sort of nonfiction. My first 2 books are Tilly and Clementine books, and they're somewhat heavily based on 2 of my nieces, my brother's family, and they live in the city as well. Well, when I was working on those first 2 that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, probably 4 years ago, they were in the process of adopting, and they adopted a young baby. And so I didn't get to get him into the books because the plot was already written. So now this next book is about him being adopted, my nephew Michael. And so it's based on their adoption process and him coming into the family and his sisters, you know, getting used to him and getting to love him. So that'll be neat. But yeah, then I do have other crazy ideas that are not really based on real life about zombies or different things.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to talk to you when the next book comes out. I mean, talk about the illustrations. I mean, you're obviously incredibly talented, have this great skill. I mean, how long does it take just to do even for a page for the illustration?
Well, I kind of work in steps. I'll sketch something out first, and then I'll pencil out the whole book.
Okay.
And then I'll come back, and once I feel like, okay, this is how it's going to be, then I'll go and ink everything, and then I'll color that. So it takes a while. So a book can take, 5 or 6 months. Wow. Unfortunately, I need to become more efficient. But I do lots of other things. I visit a lot of schools. Yes. I do weekend events. So I love going into schools and reading these books to the final reader, to the first, second, third graders, because they'll often catch plot holes that I overlook. Like, hey, you missed something there, and I'm like, okay, no more questions.
They do. I've read some of your books with my kids, and they'll ask me some kind of question. I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to get into that in the second segment because you do a lot of outreach in the community and the schools. For now, we've got the information there for you on the screen. To learn more about Happy Fun Books, you can follow them on Facebook or Twitter, or just go to happyfunbooks.com to pick up Robert and the Robots or see all the other books. But we're going to just take a quick break, and then we're going to have more with Dan Killeen right after this. Please stay with us.